Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another rendition of the Progressives Review, your Progress Wrestling review show here at the BC WrestlePod Network. I am El Jefe, also known as Mikey, and I'm here running a solo review for Progress Wrestling Chapter 184 Camden Lock Up. So, this is the first Progress show after Chapter 183, which was 100 volts, which was a really, really fun show to celebrate 100 shows in the Electric Ballroom. And now we are what I dub the new chapter, all pun intended, for Progress Wrestling heading into, the remainder of 2025. And I'm excited. But before I give into my review for Camden Lockup, just a little bit of, announcements, if you will. We are on YouTube and Twitch and Kick. So if you would like to follow us on those sites, then I would love for you to do it. It would be amazing. And you know what? By doing so, you'll be able to get all part of our little BC WrestlePod family here on the internet. It is a great time. But I also understand that that may not be up to your speed. And so, you know what? That is why following us on the social medias might actually be really, really fun too. Because we do our report cards, we do lots of fun other stuff on the social media. So if that is more up to your speed, then go ahead and give us a follow there. But we also have some merchandise if you want to support us financially. We have review merch of all of our review shows here. We also have our special collections, which all have ties into charity, which includes our fall collection, our Latino Heritage Month. And you know what? This show was really, really solid. It was a lot of fun. But Progress, we got to talk real quick. I love you. The only thing that was keeping this from being from a good show to a great show, what kept it from being a great show, is I don't know what's going on. The audio issues were crazy. Like, we couldn't hear the mics when people were talking. We could barely hear commentary team. Like, I don't know what was going on with the audio, but y'all got to get it fixed for Jump in the Line, which is the next show coming up. So please, I love y'all, but get this audio issue fixed because I want to hear when people talk on the mics and stuff like that. But other than that, this is a really good show. There was a lot of fun matches. There's a lot shorter matches, but the main event went very long. So I was like, okay, it makes a lot of sense. So let's just jump straight into everything. Normally, I have slides that show all the match cards to give you a visual, but today we're just going to use the Camden Lockup card, as this slideshow is also being used for the third review that I'm going to talk about later in about 55 minutes or so for the trifecta of reviews. So let's just jump straight into it. We kick Camden Lockup up with a Progress World title match where we see our challenger, Charlie Sterling, who is looking extra spiffy and fly in his new getup, taking on our new Progress Men's Champion in Mr. Man Like Dur. I love Durice so much. He was at the GCW show I was at 2 weeks ago, and he's a blast. He's so much fun to talk to. He's such a down-to-earth person. But this is Durice's first title defense of the Progress, and this was a really fun and solid match. I think this match did two things for me in terms of like looking at the participants in this. One, for Durice, this is his first defense. And as commentary was stating, that the first defense of a championship is going to make or break you, especially if you're a new champion, of whether you can be up to the task to be able to defend this championship and, can do whatever you need to make sure that you retain it. On the other side, you have Charlie Sterling, who has had a couple of matches now being on his own. And, now that he is no longer a tag team wrestler, now that he's a singles wrestler, here is BC Wrestle. Excuse me. It is early morning right now still. And Charlie Sterling has a lot to prove. He's had matches. He's been winning some matches and things like that. But it continues to prove if Charlie Sterling can be a singles wrestler. And, I think this match accomplished that. This is a really strong bout between these two. Of course, ultimately, man like Durice would retain the Progress Men's Championship. This was a good showing from Charlie Sterling. I'm excited to see where he goes next. After the match, though, Durice, talks about, he gets us a little bit. I was like, sir, what are you about to tell me? Like, don't tell me we're about to lose this championship. We're going to vacate it. I already had that happen to me earlier in the week. Please don't do it again. But we got a new design belt just for Durice. And so I was like, I'm here for it. Durice is great. And I loved it. And I thought this was a really fun way to start off the show. So shout out to Doris and Charlie Sterling. This was a really fun opening bout. We get into our next match, which is a singles match where we saw Josh Hawley versus Simon Miller. This one was a bit on the shorter side, and leading into this, Josh Hawley was just talking a lot of crap about Simon Miller in terms of his wrestling ability and him being an internet personality and all that internet wrestling personality people do not know how to wrestle. Kind of taking digs at like what we see here in stateside where we get celebrities involved in wrestling matches and stuff like that. And you know what? Simon Miller did the damn thing because he shut Josh Hawley up. Like as soon as Josh was done talking, and the bell rang. Simon hit a spear. Simon hit a jackhammer. Like Simon was just destroying Josh. Josh tried to get some offense in, but it would as it. I mean, it's Simon Miller. When you talk crap about him, he gonna destroy you. And Simon Miller did exactly just that. Simon Miller ends up beating Josh Hawley in about a match that went less than 5 minutes. I was entertained. I was just like, okay. We knew what this was, and you know what? I'm happy to see Simon anytime I get. I think I love him as an internet personality. And Josh Hawley, I think, was a good foil for Simon Miller, where he was just being an absolute tool and quote unquote being the heel, the chicken-ish heel, where he's going to talk a lot of smack, but then he can't back it up. I do wonder, though, what's going to happen because at 100 volts, we had that fatal four-way for the Proteus Championship. Paul Walter Hauser still holds on to that championship. And I am hoping that he comes back soon to the UK. I want to see more of our lovable twat, Charles Crowley. And, you know, now that Bullet is back too, I'm interested to see where we go with this. I would love to see more. Hopefully with Jump in the Line, Vendetta. Well, actually, Jump in the Line, Noisy Neighbors, Vendetta, and Unboxing with as the remainder on the calendar for this year for Progress. Hopefully they are able to hopefully they're able to use more of the Proteus Championship because it was a fun run in the first half of the year, but it's really hard when your champion is not here defending it. But I like Paul Walter Hauser, and so hopefully we get to see more of that Proteus Championship and everybody I mentioned involved very, very soon. From there, we get our next match, which was, of course, another highlight of mine. I really enjoyed this one. This was Ricky Knight Jr. taking on our excursion, a person from Pro Wrestling Noah in Owada-san. I'm becoming the more I see Owada-san, the more I'm becoming a fan of his. And this was a really good match. I really love Owada-san, but Ricky Knight Jr., there was a reason that you're a former Rev Pro UK champion. Like, I love this match. This is another exhibition match kind of bit where Ricky does win, but Owada-san looked really good. And I'm very excited to see more of Owada-san here in Progress. There's not much more I can say about this. This was a solid match between Ricky and Owada-san, and I want to see more of them here in Progress. So I'm excited to see where that all goes from here. We get into our Progress Atlas Championship match, which I was super excited about when we got this card. We got Gene Money being accompanied by Session Moth Martina, and you know our Atlas champion G Money defending his title against his former nephew Will Cruz. This was a really fun match. I really enjoyed this. Now I did critique at 100 volts that the story that we were getting leading into this was a little bit jarring because we were supposed to get Will Cruz versus Gene Money at Stay Humble, but Will Cruz was still in Japan at that time, so we had to push it back. And so then, you know, we had the triple threat after. Well, let's do this. So Axel Tischel was the Atlas champion, and he faced Mike DeVecchio at Stay Humble, in which Mike D won the championship, and then his first title defense was the triple threat between him, Gene Money, and Will Cruz at 100 volts, in which Gene Money won, which because Mike D was off to, I think, going to the Fed, but who knows at this point. But I digress. And so I was sitting here and I was just like, okay, I'm very interested to see. All to say is that Gene loses. Will Cruz is your new Atlas champion. I'm excited to see Will as champion here in Progress. He's become one of my new faves as well. Gene Money commentary putting him over, having trained a lot of wrestlers, and he's been in this business for a while now. Will and Gene hug it out. We love to see that. And Will Cruz is your new Atlas champion, and I'm excited to see where his championship run takes him. In your semi main event, we have another quicker match in which we have the Progress debut of Alexander Lockhart taking on the Black Swan of Progress in Cara Noir. And me and Andrew said this at going a little bit more heelish, loved it. I love a more aggressive Cara Noir. Alexander tried, but like in the best way possible. Alexander Lockhart tried very well, in his debut against Cara Noir. Ultimately, Cara Noir would end up winning. Cara wasn't done though, because he then would beat up Alexander after the match and would try to, break him apart a little bit more, which then caused Derice to come out to chase off Cara Noir and to save Alexander Lockhart. And Derice is like, "No, man, you can't do that." So we are teasing Derice and Cara Noir. I am hoping that it happens at Vendetta. So let's build this out a little bit so we can get all this going. But this was a really good match. Cara Noir is one of my personal faves. I love him. I really want to see more of Alexander Lockhart. And you know what? This was a really fun match. Now, we get into the main event. Loser leaves Progress. Nina Samuels versus Kanji. Match of the night. My goodness. These two women threw down, and this had everything I wanted with the stakes so high. We had chair spots. We had going into the crowd, hard hits. Like, it is no secret that when Nina became champion, and she was the champion for the first half of this year, me and Andrew weren't feeling her because character and in-ring weren't aligning. And then going into her match against Rio, where Rio got the title back, me and Andrew were like, this is what we want to see from Nina. And ever since then, she gave us the intensity and everything that we needed from her. And this is the best of Nina that we saw. Kanji also gave it everything. This match was everything to me. This match was amazing. And again, I already reiterated what it had. And honestly, I couldn't tell you at the beginning of this match. Could have made an argument for both cases of who's going to leave and why. But ultimately, guys, at the end of the day, the Nina Samuels show is officially canceled in Progress because Kanji is able to beat Nina, has to leave Progress. She was still in character, but, the crowd, the Electric Ballroom made sure that she was felt love. And you know what? I'm excited to see where Nina goes now. Kanji is still here, so she's a part of the Progress Women's, locker room. And you know what? I'm excited to see where Nina goes next and interested to see what's next for her. But what a main event. This was such a fun main event. And this was easily my match of the night and my match of the morning/night. And, Nina on the stage, talking to the crowd and everything and pointing and things like that is how Camden Lock Up goes off the air. Again, this was a really fun show. The audio issues, like with the mic's not us being able to hear what people were saying on the microphone, was kind of a bummer. But I think this was a very solid show. I do think that 100 Volts definitely was the better show, but that's because it was like, 100 shows in the Electric Ballroom is like a special. You can't really, it's not fair to compare. But I think this was a solid follow up to 100 Volts. And I had a blast watching this one. Now, of course, we just need to wait a couple more weeks because our next chapter 185, is happening at the end of October. So Progress Wrestling has chapter 185, Jump in the Line, coming up very shortly. We should be getting matches announced for that relatively soon. And of course, I will be here at the end of the month to review Jump in the Line. So that is going to be held on Thursday, October 30th. So I'm excited. Hopefully, maybe I can course Andrew or ask him nicely if he would do a one-off review and come back. He's currently on hiatus for the fall, but hopefully I could maybe entice him to do Jump in the Line with me. But you know what? I want to respect Andrew's wishes, and I love him and everything. And he's great, and I look forward to whenever he returns. That's going to be it for me here. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for my quick Camden Lockup review. I will be back in about 45 minutes to do my final live for the morning as I review GCW Bloodsport London. And so until then, from all of us here at the BC WrestlePod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. I will see you in a little bit for GCW Bloodsport London. But until then, and until next time, peace. Oh, and don't forget to tip your waitresses.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.